Well, holy smokes, everyone. Facebook is collapsing. Facebook has lost nearly $1 trillion in market value. Mark Zuckerberg has lost over $100 billion. They're closing offices. They're announcing mass layoffs as people exit the platform in droves. And now a bombshell has been released during their latest earnings that the Metaverse is draining billions. And Mark Zuckerberg's vision of being a Metaverse god and overwatching us peasants has come to an end. And this has caused the media to go into meltdown, and literally Jim Cramer himself did have a meltdown after getting it so wrong. Just like he says, go ahead and invest in Bernstein's, go ahead and invest in Lehman Brothers in 2008. He was telling people, go ahead, invest in Facebook. It's a great value. Well, it did not age well for him. Look at this.
Yeah, let me say this. I made a mistake here. I was wrong. I trusted this management team. That was ill-advised. What did I get wrong? I trusted them, not myself. For that, I regret. Okay. I've been in this business for 40 years, and I did a bad job. When I discussed this with my wife, Lisa, because this is all I talked about last night, and how disappointed I was, not in them, but myself.
Well, everyone. The inverse Cramer ETF strikes again. Now, I will give him some props that he did actually admit he made a mistake and he took full ownership. And it's looking like he had a very long night last night, crying into his pillow with his wife patting him on the back, telling him everything's going to be okay. Who knows, maybe he took a long position and got completely wiped out. But people, it is much worse than anyone ever imagined. And I think Facebook is going to go down as the biggest tech giant to fall in history. Holy smokes, look at this, everyone. Facebook down 25% today. Look at this, everyone. Meta plummets 25% and Zuckerberg's pleas for patience falls flat. Well, everyone, what did I try to warn you? I said Q3 earnings are going to be very, very bad indeed. I told people, look, even my YouTube ad rates are falling and all these social media platforms is going to have their ad revenue plummet. But everyone was saying in 2020 and 2022 for any tech company that had an idea to do with something to the internet, kind of like the dot-com bubble, people were saying, it's the future, bro. It doesn't matter what the PE ratio is, it's the future, so you can pay any price. Well, again, this is exactly what people said during the dot-com bubble boom. But now what we're experiencing is a tech bust. But you know what they say, the devil's in the details, and as we look under the hood, we find out how bad it really is. Mark Zuckerberg asked investors for patience with the social media giant, swelling investment in unproven bets at an already challenging time for digital advertising companies. So he's panicking, he's saying, please have patience, everyone. I'm not bankrupt yet. Because look at what's happened to Mark Zuckerberg's net worth. Let's all shed a tear, everyone. Mark Zuckerberg wealth wipeout hits 100 billion as Meta misses again. Mark Zuckerberg, 38, now has a net worth of just 38.1 billion, poor bloke. According to Bloomberg Billionaire Index, a stunning fall from the peak of 142 billion in September 2021. While many of the world's richest have seen their fortunes tumble this year, Meta's chief executive offer has seen the single biggest hit among those on the wealth list. So that's right, everyone. This is the biggest net worth loss in history. And many people are saying it's well deserved. Facebook, which is now called Meta, has had a history of abusing its customers, of abusing its users, by selling their data, by misusing their data, by banning, shadow banning, canceling anybody that they don't agree with. It's been well documented that all of Facebook and Meta's employees has extreme political biases, and they use this to censor anyone they don't agree with. And they'll say, well, look, if you don't like it, go build your own platform. Or look, if you don't like it, go use another platform. Well, now that there are alternative sites, people are, and they're begging for them back. On a call Wednesday after giving a disappointment revenue outlook, Zuckerberg sought to justify Meta's ballooning costs to fund its vision of virtual reality, the Metaverse, as well as the artificial intelligence fueling major changes to its social networks. So another big failure by Mark Zuckerberg is his vision for this Metaverse. Now, as soon as he announced this, people started laughing and saying this would never work right from the get-go. Because when you look at his Metaverse and experience his Metaverse, it just looks like a video game that someone created in the year 2000s like Sims. Nothing innovative at all. But hey, it's got legs now. All Mark Zuckerberg did with the Metaverse was jumped on the hype train. There was a lot of hype during 2020 and 2021 with all this Metaverse cryptocurrencies coming out. It was just a hype and pump and dump scheme. And this happens time and time again throughout history, whenever there's some new technology, even if it does become the future, everything has a price. People always FOMO in, they get the tulip mania psychology, and it creates a speculative mania bubble that has a history of always bursting. Investors who already sent the stock down 71% this year so far aren't buying it. The Facebook's parent market value has collapsed by a whopping $676 billion this year, removing it from its ranks of the 20th largest US companies. But Zuckerberg said he is confident that Meta's largest bet in areas such as short-form video, business managing, and the Metaverse were headed in the right direction. He just couldn't say for sure how big the payoff would be. And remember all the people coming out saying, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the drippity drip drip dip.
Here we go, come on, push it, buy the dip, buy the dip.
Well, unfortunately, the dip turned into a rip. And this is why you have to do your fundamental analysis and not just buy every dip, because sometimes these dips never come back. Because who after a long, hard day at work would want to come, put this heavy headset on their head and go and live in a computer after they've had their face in the computer all day? And they're saying it's providing to be a hard sell when the company expects its already falling revenue to be less than analysts expected and the cost to be more. On Wednesday, Meta said third quarter revenue declined 4.5% from a year prior, only the second time the company's sales have ever declined, the first being last quarter. In the final 3 months of the year, Meta expects that trend to continue. The company's fourth quarter forecast came in low of analyst estimates. So to put it simply, they're spending a lot of money, inflation is going up, so their costs are going up, and their revenue is falling. And that is a recipe for disaster. Meta has already been grappling with both a contraction in market spending due to economic uncertainty and a change in Apple Inc.'s privacy policy that made all social media ads less effective. Again, this is something I tried to warn people about at the start of the year. I've been saying as this economy heads into a recession, companies are going to be less willing to spend on advertising, and this is going to be a big hit for all these tech giants. The company has cut costs by slowing hiring and narrowing priorities to focus on keeping its social media platforms relevant and expanding virtual reality offerings. So that's right, everyone. Facebook, now Meta, is collapsing. They're shutting down offices and mass layoffs are coming. Look at this. Meta is closing one of New York's offices with cutbacks looming, and Facebook parent Meta to shrink some offices as it adapts to hybrid work. But that's not all. Look at this. Like I said, Facebook may quietly sack 12,000 employees, 15% of its workforce. And look at this. Meta employees told to put in 200% effort to protect jobs as layoffs loom. So even though it's not mathematically possible for people to put in 200% because people can only put in 100% because that's all the effort, Mark Zuckerberg is getting desperate, and now the work environment is getting very, very toxic indeed at Meta. Company insiders speculate the number of workers impacted by potential layoffs could be substantial. Meta, the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, reported having 83,500 workers worldwide at the end of the second quarter. There is a general consensus that we'll have 20% fewer people next year, another Meta employee told Insider. So if you're watching this and you work for Facebook, I'll start working on a backup plan immediately. And Bloomberg summed it up perfectly. How investors are feeling right now is that there are just too many experimental bets versus proven bets in the core. But what I think is the biggest reason why Facebook is going to fail and collapse is because people have completely lost trust in the platform altogether. Mark Zuckerberg has found himself in trouble again and again and again by the regulators, by the government, but he just keeps getting a slap on the wrist. There's been bombshell after bombshell about how he's using users' data, and by having completely obvious political biases and promoting certain candidates and suppressing the others. Because I don't think it matters what side of the political arena you're on, everybody has a right for free speech and fair opportunities. Now, the biggest and most alarming bombshell that came out recently was the information that the FBI was working directly with Mark Zuckerberg to suppress certain stories. Now, I won't say what it is, but I'll let Mark Zuckerberg say it for himself.
Like, there was a lot of attention on Twitter during the election because of the Hunter Biden laptop story. The New York Post.
Yeah, we have that too.
Yeah, so you guys censored that as well?
I mean, basically, the background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. There was we thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant. So if something is reported to us as potentially misinformation, important misinformation, we also have this third-party fact-checking program because we don't want to be deciding what's true and false. And for I think it was 5 or 7 days when it was basically being determined whether it was false, the distribution on Facebook was decreased, but people were still allowed to share it. So you could still share it, you could still consume it.
So when you say the distribution is decreased,
It got shared.
How does that work?
It basically, the ranking in newsfeed was a little bit less. So fewer people saw it than would have otherwise. So it definitely,
By what percentage?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's meaningful.
Well, everyone, this is horrifying and this should worry you, even if you're on the left side of politics. Because, you've got Elon Musk, head of Twitter right now. How do you think you would feel if he started suppressing left-wing candidates? I wouldn't agree with that at all. I don't think you'll agree with it. And this is why we need to protect free speech. Because they may go for your political opponent one day, and if you don't speak up about that, what are you going to do when they come for you? There'll be nobody left to speak for you. So everyone, what this means is Facebook is dying a slow death. This is what happens when the cancel culture cancels itself. If you keep on canceling everyone, if you keep on banning everyone, eventually nobody's going to want to be on your platform. Because like even Obama admitted, it's a buzzkill. But everyone, what do you think about this? Let me know down below. Now, for my loyal viewers and subscribers still watching, you're awesome. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.